Hi guys, it's Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi, and my Weyland-Yutani shirt from Aliens. And I'm going to be posting a lot of videos over the next few weeks as our Kickstarter campaign continues, just kind of to spread the word. But I'll be talking about a lot of subjects that if you're a science fiction fan or an aspiring writer or director or producer, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be of interest to you. And so definitely check it out, spread the word, all of that. And don't forget our Kickstarter campaign so we can shoot more of Space Command. We're building alien and hibernation ships and warships and you name it, alien creatures, on and on, shooting tons of stuff. It's going to be great. You can be part of it. You can make spacesuits, build futuristic cars, you name it. So feel free to reach out and contact me if you want to buy Space Command shares for $7,500 each. You get a percentage of my producer's net profits in the first 4 episodes of Space Command. Very cool. So today what I'm going to talk about is the story of Space Command, because it occurred to me that some of you who've come fairly recently to Space Command might not know how I came to create it and why I created this particular story. So I thought I'd tell you. When I initially came up with Space Command, and as many of you know, I've written for Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 and on. Captain Power, developed that show for TV. I noticed recently there weren't heroic, hopeful shows in science fiction. They were all very dark a few years ago. And now we have Star Trek Discovery and the Orville and so forth, but we didn't have that a few years ago. Those are very new on the scene, just the last couple of years. So I wanted to create something that would be inspiring, like Star Trek inspired me when I was a kid. And so I knew several things I wanted. First of all, I wanted to work with actors I'd worked with before that I loved working with, people like Armin Shimmerman and Mira Furlan and Bob Picardo and I had been talking, and we were looking for ways to work together. So, and then I wanted to create heroes who were heroic by dint of their compassion, by dint of the fact that they were courageous and willing to reach out to others and willing to put themselves at risks to help others. And so I wanted a kind of a hero who was sort of wasn't in evidence much in television or film lately, and that was like someone like the young Henry Fonda or the young Jimmy Stewart or the young Gregory Peck, like in To Kill a Mockingbird, or Gary Cooper in his young roles, and someone who was just decent. And like if you look at Henry Fonda in Grapes of Wrath, for instance, or and Ronald Colman played a lot of those roles too, like in Lost Horizon. So that's what I had in mind. And so and then I wanted a female scientist I wanted strong female characters who weren't beholden to anybody, who were their own people, who weren't looking for others to define them, who were just knew what they wanted, went after it. And so I created Von Odara, Mira Furlan's role, and I created Captain Essex for Sarah Marafino, and I also wanted to deal very much with issues of the people who are invisible, the people who are treated badly because they quote unquote don't count. So Dor Nevin, of course, the synthetic humans, were sort of standing in for all of the people over the ages who've been dismissed. And now you might say it's the homeless, or insert name here. Anyone who basically gets treated badly by the powers that be, and so that led to. The dogs are drinking water. Oh, look out, hello! And so that led to creating all these different characters and seeing how they would intersect. And I knew that I was going to set Space Command 60 years from now when it begins, and it would cover 150 years, and we would jump back and forth between essentially 5 generations of 4 families to see cause and effect, because I was very interested in that. And so I started thinking of the characters I would have and the generations that you would have, and it started informing itself as I wrote it and shot it. And with Robert Picardo, I knew I wanted to have a Muslim character. And again, not to hit it over the head, not to have him be, quote unquote, the Muslim character, but just to have him, be a Muslim like I'm Jewish, or friends of mine are Catholic, or atheist, or agnostic, and not have it be no big deal. It's just that's what he is. He's raising his son. He lost his wife. He's grieving over that loss. Just kind of to have people in Space Command who were reflected the people I run across and befriend in my real life. So, and I knew I wanted gay female characters as well, because again, Sally Ride, our first American female astronaut, was gay, and that wasn't mentioned until she died. But I think it should be taught in every school, because you say, well, what have lesbians done? Well, they've done a lot in our society, but many of them were closeted, and you know, if you don't see yourself represented in heroic roles, it's very hard to feel that you can aspire to those things. And so and it's not, again, it's not tokenism, it's again just representing reality in a science fiction context, and but in an optimistic, hopeful, engaged context. And again, not political. It's simply saying we all deserve happiness, we all deserve safety, we all deserve to have the right to live our lives and be useful members of society, however we define that. So that's what I came up with, and that's what I created. And then I just started like seeing actors that I wanted to work with, people I wanted to reach out to. So now we're, of course, Gigi Edgley and J.G. Hertzler will be playing roles. Armin Shimmerman, Ethan Phillips. I've been talking to Nana Visitor, or Nana Visitor from Deep Space Nine, because as you know, I came up with Far Beyond the Stars for that show, and I've been talking to Renee Aubergenois, many wonderful actors that we all want to work with. It looks like I'll be meeting Mark Hamill in the near future, and he'd be great in Space Command, of course. Maybe we could actually have him play a role that would be what we all wanted Luke Skywalker to end up being. Or maybe they'll rectify it in the new Star Wars movie. Who knows? We'll find out, won't we? So anyway, that's about it for now, but I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the genesis of this project and why I'm making the choices I'm making story-wise. There's a lot to come. There's aliens, there's all sorts of stuff. You'll see, it's coming. And if you go on the Internet Movie Database, we just listed the titles of all 12 episodes of the first season and some of the actors who are going to be in those episodes. So you can check out Space Command in the next few days, and it'll be accurate to what we're actually doing. So that's about it for now. So again, buy Space Command shares for $7,500 each. It'll really help us start building the sets, start making the creatures, all that stuff. Every penny goes to Space Command. None of it goes to my salary, I'll say that. And also pledge to the Kickstarter campaign, spread the word. Thanks so much for everything you're doing. It's really appreciated, and we'll talk really soon. Bye, guys.